Your soulmate just found the truth about you. Everything they believed was a lie. My beloved child, something has shifted in a way your soulmate never expected, because the truth they just discovered about you has completely changed the story they had been carrying in their heart. For so long, they believed they understood why you became distant, why certain moments never happened, and why your connection seemed to stop just when it was becoming impossible to ignore. They built an entire explanation from fragments, silence, assumptions, and things they heard but never truly confirmed. And now, one unexpected truth has turned all of it upside down. Don't skip, because what they discovered was not a small detail. It was the missing piece that suddenly made your past make sense. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that the version of you they believed in was incomplete. They thought your silence meant you had forgotten. They thought your distance meant your feelings had disappeared. They thought certain choices proved that you had already moved on. But now they are seeing something completely different. Something huge is waiting for you, because the deeper they look, the more they realize that you may have been carrying feelings you never showed. And that realization has created one question they cannot push away anymore: what if everything I believed about this person was wrong? Stay till the end, because the answer to that question is leading them toward a decision they never thought they would make. Here is where everything becomes even more surprising. Your soulmate did not discover this truth because someone simply explained it to them. It came through a small detail they almost overlooked, a detail connected to something from your shared past. At first, it seemed meaningless. Then they remembered another moment. Then another. Suddenly, pieces that had never fit together began falling into place. The conversations that ended too soon. The words you almost said. The moments when your eyes seemed to communicate something your voice never revealed. They are replaying those memories differently now, and every memory is telling them the same thing: I misunderstood you. Don't skip. Your soulmate is realizing that some of the things they interpreted as rejection may have been hesitation. Some of the moments they interpreted as indifference may have carried emotions they simply failed to recognize. And the most powerful revelation is still coming, because they have started questioning the one belief that kept them from moving toward you. For a long time, they convinced themselves that you would never choose them. That belief became the wall between you. But the truth they just found has placed a crack directly through that wall. Something huge is waiting for you, because now they are wondering whether the connection they tried so hard to forget was never truly gone. And once that thought entered their mind, they could not remove it. But there is one final detail your soulmate has not been able to explain, and this is where the story takes a completely unexpected turn. The truth they discovered did more than change their opinion of your past, it changed what they believe could happen next. They are beginning to understand that the years, months, or moments of confusion between you may not have meant what they assumed. Stay till the end, because they are now looking back at one specific moment when you almost revealed everything, and suddenly they understand why you stopped. That memory has become impossible for them to ignore. They keep returning to it because now they can see what they could not see before. Your soulmate thought they had lost their chance with you. Now they are questioning whether the real chance has only just arrived. Don't skip, because this realization is pushing them towards something completely different from what they had planned. They had prepared themselves to leave the story unfinished. They had told themselves there was nothing left to discover. But one truth changed everything they believed. And now, instead of closing the chapter, they are standing at the beginning of a completely different one. Something huge is waiting for you, because the next thing they discover will reveal why this misunderstanding lasted for so long, and why the truth appeared at exactly the moment when they were finally ready to see it. There is something your soulmate has been unable to stop thinking about since the truth came to light, because one memory has suddenly become more important than all the others. They remember a moment when you could have explained everything, yet somehow the words never came. Back then, they took your silence personally. They believed it confirmed every fear they had created inside their own mind. But now they understand something they never considered before: silence does not always mean the absence of feeling. Sometimes the deepest emotions are the hardest ones to reveal. Don't skip, because this is where their entire understanding of you begins changing again. They are replaying your expressions, your unfinished sentences, the way certain conversations suddenly became quiet, and the strange feeling that something important was always left unsaid. And now they are asking themselves a question that has shaken everything they once believed: what if I walked away from something real because I misunderstood what I was seeing? Stay till the end, because that question has opened a door they thought was permanently closed. They are no longer trying to convince themselves that you meant nothing. Instead, they are wondering how much they failed to notice, and the answer is becoming bigger with every memory they revisit. Then came the second revelation, and this one was impossible to dismiss. Your soulmate realized that one of their strongest beliefs about you was based on an assumption, not a fact. Think about how powerful that is. Something they treated as absolute truth had never actually been confirmed. They had carried it for so long that eventually it became part of the story they told themselves about you. But once they questioned it, everything surrounding it began collapsing. Something huge is waiting for you, because now they are seeing your actions through completely different eyes. What once looked like distance now looks like uncertainty. What once looked like an ending now looks like an unfinished beginning. And what they once believed was proof that you had forgotten them now feels strangely different. Don't skip. There is still one missing piece, and your soulmate believes finding it could finally explain why this connection stayed in their thoughts for so long. They are beginning to realize that perhaps they were not remembering you because they were trapped in the past. Perhaps they kept remembering because something between you never received its true ending. That possibility has changed their emotions completely. For the first time, they are not asking, "Why couldn't this happen?" They are asking, "What happens if I finally stop believing the old story?" And that is exactly where their next decision begins. Your soulmate has reached the point where pretending not to care no longer feels convincing, even to them. The truth has changed too much. They cannot return to the same assumptions after seeing what they see now. Stay till the end, because there is one realization they still haven't fully accepted: you may have mattered to them far more than they ever allowed themselves to admit. Every time they tried to close this chapter, something reminded them that there were unanswered questions. Every time they thought they understood you, another memory challenged their conclusion. But now those scattered memories are forming one clear picture, and that picture is nothing like the one they believed before. Something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is moving closer to the question they avoided for the longest time: if everything I believed about you was wrong, what else could I have been wrong about? And there is one answer they are almost ready to discover, an answer connected to why you entered their life, why they could never completely erase the connection, and why the truth surfaced now. Don't skip, because once they understand that final piece, staying silent may no longer feel possible. What happened next was the moment your soulmate could no longer hide from the truth, because one tiny memory suddenly connected everything they had been questioning. It was something you once said, something that seemed ordinary at the time, but now carries an entirely different meaning. They remembered your words, then remembered the expression on your face, and suddenly realized they had interpreted that moment completely wrong. Don't skip, because this is where their old story about you begins falling apart. They once believed you were protecting your distance from them, but now they are wondering whether you were actually protecting feelings you were not ready to reveal. They believed you had stopped caring, yet certain memories suddenly suggest the opposite. And the more they examine the past, the harder it becomes to defend what they once believed. Stay till the end, because there is another detail they haven't fully understood yet. Something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is beginning to see that the truth was never completely hidden. It may have been sitting inside small moments all along, waiting for them to finally look without fear, assumptions, or expectations. And now one question keeps repeating inside their mind: how did I miss something that seems so clear to me now? But the biggest shift came when they stopped focusing on what you did and started questioning why you did it. That changed everything. Suddenly, moments that once seemed cold became complicated. Conversations they thought were meaningless began carrying emotional weight, even the times when you seemed completely calm started looking different, because your soulmate now remembers tiny details they ignored before: the hesitation before an answer, the way you changed the subject when things became personal, the moments when you seemed ready to say something important and then held it back. Something huge is waiting for you, because they are realizing that the truth about you cannot be understood through one moment alone. It exists across dozens of little moments they never connected until now. Don't skip. Their certainty has disappeared, and in its place is something much stronger: curiosity mixed with emotion. They want to understand what really happened between you. They want to know what you were thinking when everything changed. Most of all, they want to know whether the connection they dismissed was actually more meaningful than they ever allowed themselves to believe. And there is one particular memory they keep returning to, because it may contain the answer. Now your soulmate stands between two versions of the same story. In the first version, everything happened exactly as they once believed. You moved forward, the connection faded, and nothing remained except memories. But the second version has become impossible to ignore. In that version, something real existed beneath the silence. Misunderstandings covered the truth, and both of you may have walked away without ever knowing the complete story. Stay till the end, because your soulmate is no longer satisfied with guessing. Something inside them wants clarity now. They are beginning to understand that if their biggest belief about you turned out to be wrong, then the conclusion they built from it could also be wrong. Don't skip, because this changes what comes next. Something huge is waiting for you, and your soulmate can feel it too. They have started imagining one possibility they previously refused to consider: what if there is still something important left to say? That thought is becoming stronger every time they revisit the truth. And soon, they will have to choose between returning to comfortable silence or finally facing the question that could rewrite everything between you. And then came the realization your soulmate was least prepared for: the misunderstanding was never built from one single moment. It grew slowly, piece by piece, until assumptions began feeling like facts. Now that they have discovered the truth, they are mentally returning to every moment where they judged your feelings without ever knowing what was happening inside you. Don't skip, because one particular memory is standing above all the others. It was a moment when you almost gave them the clarity they needed, but something changed before the truth could fully come out. Back then, your soulmate believed your hesitation answered everything. Today, they see it completely differently. They are wondering whether that hesitation actually meant there was much more beneath the surface. Stay till the end, because the deeper they go, the more surprising this becomes. They are beginning to understand that they may have spent all this time protecting themselves from a story that was never completely true. Something huge is waiting for you, because this discovery is not simply changing how they remember you, it is changing how they see themselves. They are asking why they accepted assumptions instead of seeking clarity. Why did they convince themselves they already knew your answer? And why, after so much time, does discovering the truth feel like something inside them has finally awakened? Now something completely unexpected is happening. Instead of trying to forget you, your soulmate wants to understand you. Instead of pushing away the memories, they are studying them. Every small detail suddenly matters because they know now that one overlooked detail already changed everything. Don't skip. There is another revelation approaching, and this one could become the turning point of the entire story. Your soulmate has realized there was one moment when your actions and their assumptions never matched. They ignored that contradiction before because believing the simpler explanation felt easier. But now they cannot ignore it. If you truly felt nothing, why did that moment happen the way it did? Why did certain words remain unfinished? Why did the connection continue returning to their thoughts long after they believed it was over? Something huge is waiting for you, because those questions are leading them toward an answer they once considered impossible. Perhaps the connection did not disappear. Perhaps it simply became buried beneath things neither of you fully understood. Stay till the end, because your soulmate is closer than ever to admitting something they have resisted for a very long time. Their feelings were influenced by a version of events that may never have been accurate, but here is where everything changes again. Your soulmate is no longer asking whether the past can be rewritten, they are wondering whether the future can be approached differently. That distinction is powerful. They know they cannot return and change what happened, but they can choose what they do with the truth they have now. Don't skip, because their next thought surprised even them. For the first time, they imagined speaking to you without assumptions, without rehearsed conclusions, and without pretending they already know what you would say. And that possibility created an emotion they thought had disappeared long ago: hope. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is still one final belief your soulmate has not questioned yet, and it may be the biggest one of all. They always believed that too much time had passed, that whatever could have existed between you belonged permanently to yesterday. But after everything they have discovered, even that belief is beginning to weaken. Because if they were wrong about your silence, wrong about your distance, and wrong about what certain moments meant, then perhaps they were also wrong about believing the story was finished. And once that thought entered their mind, one extraordinary possibility became impossible to ignore: maybe discovering the truth was not the ending they expected. Maybe it was the beginning they never saw coming. The next discovery did not arrive loudly, it appeared inside one memory your soulmate had pushed aside for a very long time. Suddenly, they remembered the exact moment when everything between you seemed to change, and for the first time, they questioned what actually happened instead of trusting the explanation they had created afterward. Don't skip, because this is where the truth becomes impossible for them to ignore. They had always believed that moment proved you were ready to leave the connection behind. But now, after everything they have uncovered, they can see another possibility. Perhaps you were not closing a door. Perhaps you were waiting for something from them that never came. That thought has shaken their certainty because it means both of you could have been standing on opposite sides of the same misunderstanding, each believing the other had already chosen to walk away. Stay till the end, because your soulmate is beginning to realize how much can remain hidden when two people rely on assumptions instead of clarity. Something huge is waiting for you. They are replaying that moment differently now, noticing details they once dismissed, remembering words they thought meant nothing, and questioning why your presence stayed so strongly in their mind afterward. And one thought keeps growing stronger: what if the truth was always closer than I realized? Then something even more surprising happened. Your soulmate stopped asking why you never gave them the answer they wanted and started asking whether they ever gave you enough reason to reveal it. That single question changed the emotional direction of everything. Don't skip. They are remembering times when they appeared distant because they were uncertain themselves. Moments when they wanted reassurance but never asked for it. Moments when they waited for you to make the first move while you may have been waiting for exactly the same thing. Suddenly, the past looks less like rejection and more like two people reading the same situation differently. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate is now questioning the belief that kept them silent for so long: they never truly cared about me. That sentence once felt certain. Now it feels incomplete. Every newly understood memory challenges it. Every detail pushes them closer to a completely different conclusion. Stay till the end, because they have reached the point where simply knowing the truth may no longer be enough. They want to know what you actually felt. They want to understand what remained unsaid. And most unexpectedly, they have begun wondering what would happen if the two of you finally looked at the same story without the assumptions that separated you. But one mystery remains, and it may be the most important one yet. Your soulmate still cannot understand why this truth surfaced now, why, after all this time, everything suddenly began making sense. Don't skip, because that question has led them toward an extraordinary realization. Maybe the significance is not in the timing itself, but in the fact that they are finally willing to see what they once refused to consider. Before, they searched their memories for proof that they were right. Now they are searching for understanding. And those are two completely different journeys. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate has reached a point where the old story can no longer satisfy them. They cannot simply return to believing that you never cared, that everything was meaningless, or that every unanswered question should remain unanswered forever. The truth has changed too much. And now one thought is becoming stronger than every fear that once kept them silent. Maybe I need to know what was really in their heart. That thought is leading directly toward a choice they never imagined making. Because your soulmate is no longer deciding whether they should forget you. They are beginning to decide whether it is finally time to understand you, and what they choose next could completely transform everything they thought this story was meant to become. something inside your soulmate has changed so deeply that even they cannot pretend this discovery means nothing anymore. For the first time, they are looking at the entire story without defending their old assumptions, and what they see is completely different from what they expected. Don't skip, because the biggest realization has finally reached them. They may not have lost you because the connection was meaningless. They may have stepped away because neither of you fully understood what the other was feeling. That possibility keeps returning to them. They remember how quickly they accepted silence as an answer, how easily they allowed uncertainty to become certainty, and how many things they never actually asked you. Now those unanswered questions feel louder than ever. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate has realized there was one feeling they could never explain. No matter how many times they tried to mentally close this chapter, some part of the story always felt unfinished. They once believed that feeling would eventually disappear. It never completely did. And now they finally understand why. The truth they discovered has connected the missing pieces, and suddenly the past no longer looks like a simple ending. It looks like a conversation that stopped before the most important words were spoken. Then came the thought that changed everything: what if I finally stopped guessing? Your soulmate has spent so much time imagining what you thought, what you wanted, and why you made certain choices that they almost forgot something incredibly simple: they never had the complete answer. Don't skip, because this realization is pushing them beyond memories and toward a completely new possibility. They are imagining what it would feel like to approach you without the old story standing between you. No assumptions. No predetermined ending. Just clarity. And strangely, that thought does not feel impossible anymore. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate is beginning to understand that discovering the truth was only the first transformation. The second transformation is what they choose to do after discovering it. They can return to silence and always wonder what might have happened, or they can finally acknowledge that the story they believed for so long was built on missing information. Stay till the end, because they are closer than ever to choosing clarity. The person who once convinced themselves that nothing remained is now wondering whether one sincere conversation could reveal everything both of you misunderstood. And now the final belief is beginning to fall, the belief that too much time has passed for anything meaningful to change. Your soulmate once used time as proof that the chapter was finished. But now they understand that time cannot answer questions nobody ever asked. Don't skip. They are not trying to recreate yesterday. They are realizing that understanding yesterday could completely change how they approach tomorrow. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate has reached the most important decision of this entire journey. They no longer want assumptions deciding what you mean to them. They want truth. They want clarity. They want to understand why this connection remained unforgettable even when they tried to place it behind them. Stay till the end, because everything they believed was a lie, not because someone deliberately created a false story, but because incomplete moments became conclusions before the truth had a chance to speak. Now those conclusions are disappearing one by one. And beneath them is something your soulmate never expected to find: possibility. The story they thought had ended may simply have been misunderstood. And now, with the truth finally visible, your soulmate is standing before a completely different question: not what happened to us, but what could happen if we finally understood each other.